There is considerable high-quality science that argues against the policy of artificially fluoridating municipal water supplies. The latest study uses data from primarily white, college-educated pregnant women and their children living in modern Canadian cities, some of which are fluoridated and some not. This study is part of a government-sponsored project that investigates the long-term impact of environmental exposures during pregnancy on the population. This latest study, published in JAMA Pediatrics, found that a 1 mg per liter increase of fluoride in maternal urine corresponds to a 4.5-point lower IQ in their little boys who were tested at age 3 or 4. Comparing the IQs of these children and the concentration of fluoride in their water supplies and dietary intake found a 3.7-point lowered IQ in both girls and boys for every 1 mg per liter increase in consumption. The second finding suggests that there is also a postnatal impact on brain development for girls consuming fluoride in early childhood. Since the American Medical Association has long supported fluoridation as a safe and effective method of preventing cavities, JAMA Pediatrics was highly skeptical of this study and subjected it to multiple reviews, including 2 separate statistical analyses. JAMA Pediatric editors concluded that the 2019 MIREC study by Green and Company is high quality and its findings are accurate. So, they published it. What's more, the JAMA editors realized for the first time that because of a bias ingrained in them since medical school, they, as doctors and public health authorities, have been ignorant of considerable science supporting the biological plausibility of both prenatal harm to developing brains and of gender differences associated with timing of exposure, which is well known with other poisons such as lead. Although no single observational study can prove a causal effect, this study is one in a series of studies since 1995, all finding the same effect of prenatal and postnatal harm. Consequently, more pediatricians, including the editors at JAMA Pediatrics, are advising women to avoid fluoridated water. But what does this mean in the real world? There are about 4 million annual births in the U.S., where approximately 3 in 4 of us live in fluoridated communities. So, if those 3 million American pregnant women relied on tap water for cooking and drinking for themselves and their young families, depending on their individual doses, which is based on not only their fluoridated tap water, but also the halo effect from purchased foods made with fluoridated water, like drinks and soups, which also is impacting families in non-fluoridated communities, well, that would be tens of millions of lost IQ points. American economists tell us that a loss of just 1.5 IQ point reduces annual earnings by $400 per person per year. Multiply just that 1.5 by the millions of Americans living in fluoridated communities, and you have $100 billion a year in lost annual earnings. Even if every pregnant American woman spent $10 a week on bottled water during pregnancy in order to protect the developing brains of their children, that also would be an out-of-pocket expense of $400 for those expectant families, which is about $1.2 billion, plus at least 1.2 billion plastic bottles, whether for a gallon or a single serving. If those young mothers continued with bottled water through the 3rd birthday of their child, that would be about 200 weeks of bottled water, costing each family $520 per year. Nationally, that is $6 billion for store-bought water and 6 billion plastic water bottles just for these young families. 6 billion gallon jugs laid out end to end is over 1 million miles, or almost 2.5 round trips to the moon. If you want to protect human brains and reduce plastic pollution, stop by ending fluoridation. It's bad for people, planet, and pocketbooks.